Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Good evening, everybody. It is 8 o'clock. Again, it is February 3rd. We are live. It is time for the Drive and Speak Rocks podcast.
Sure is.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm your host, Bo, the Boom Operator.
I'm Slick Doggy the Grip.
And we've got another show for you tonight. We are back in the studio. It's another week. More movies came out. We saw some. We're going to talk to you about those. We're going to do that thing. But first, we're going to shamelessly self-promote. Don't forget to follow us anywhere that you follow things like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. We don't Twitter. But we do Twitch, right? We do Instagram, kind of, but not really. We have an account, but you could follow us. Maybe if you followed us more, we'd post more. I don't know. It's the power's really in your hands, even though the algorithm's just going to bury all of our content anyway. But we thank you for joining us tonight. If you want to follow along in the program, you can do so on the live show. This is a live show. We're not going to edit this. We're not going to clip it. We're not going to do a lot of push-ins and wacky overlays. I mean, we do have those, like this one, beep, and but this is a live show, so it's a lot of fun. As you'll notice, I'm a little bit hoarsed out, which is weird. So I apologize for sounding a little bit like a frog. But moving forward, I saw some movies. Did you see some movies?
I saw a movie.
Yeah, I saw a movie too. I went and saw Love Me, the new Kristen Stewart and Stephen Yeun film, which is in only about 500 theaters right now, but it is playing right here in our backyard here in Northwest Arkansas. What did you check out?
I saw the new Prime movie, You're Cordially Invited.
Oh, that's the one with
Will Ferrell and Reese
Ferrell.
Witherspoon.
That's right.
Their families have weddings booked at the same place on the same day because
And they
of
fight about it.
comedy reasons. And yeah, they're at each other's throats.
Well, it sounds exciting. A lot of movies about love and relationships this February. We've got some movies that are coming out this weekend at the box office. We're going to be talking to you about those here in just a minute, and those are also Valentine's related. So lots of like love is in the air, I guess. But before we get into all that, let's talk about some news. There wasn't a whole lot that I saw.
No, not. I'm trying to last minute this stuff right now too, and there's just really
A lot of people are talking about the
Nothing.
Grammys and all this kind of stuff. Did you hear that apparently Hans Zimmer's score for Dune 2 not getting nominated for any Academy Awards, not because it wasn't great, but because it was not eligible. A lot of people are upset about that, and thought it'd be a really interesting thing to maybe explain why, for those of you that are wondering why or want to know how the Academy works. So Hans Zimmer's score to Dune 2, he did Dune 1 as well, and the reason he's no longer eligible, or at least for Dune 2, is for anything that's like a sequel or a prequel or a part of a series of movies, there's like I think it's like 30-something% or
has to be new.
has to be, well, it can't be more than that percent recycled from the previous film. So they have a threshold of like, you can obviously reuse certain themes, right? Because what would Star Wars be without like...
I was about to say John Williams, but the music from Star Wars to Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi, there's so many differences between the three.
But you do have like Leia's theme and Luke's theme, and these like the theme when Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are like crispy, like that theme. The
Crispy theme.
wop, 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 wop.
Yeah, it was just
and they're just like Uncle Owen and Beru. And
I
just-
like that you gave the crispy sound effects too.
that's what. Yeah. Like, I gotta get that.
The only time they talk about how accurate stormtroopers are, and then it became a joke from that point forward.
But anyway, so yeah, it's a great score, but it did not it's not Academy Award eligible because it used too many of the same themes from the first one.
How would you be able to tell in his music?
Well, and that, yeah, it's like, hang on.
That's the same bwop from the other one.
No. That's the sandworm. Bwop. That's yeah.
Hey, thanks, Papa. I mean, how would you be able to tell his bwop from one movie to another? Like, watch Blade Runner 2049, and it's just bwop, like the whole movie, and you're like, oh, that's the same.
Blade Runner's like meow bwop. There's like the synth.
I just remember going into that movie. I'm like, I'm gonna hear. There's gonna be the big bwops in this, and then like the whole back of the theater was like.
But yeah. Anyway, so for those of you that didn't know, that's how they do it. That's how it works. So if you're like going, why didn't Dune 2 get nominated? That's why. And we'll see what happens with Dune 3 because he's doing the score for that as well.
Mark Landers, John Williams, straight to jail.
Oh yeah.
Believe it or not. Jail.
You know, I like John Williams. Don't get me wrong. I really like John Williams. I like John Williams' scores quite a bit. But so many of them start to sound the exact same. Like, he's the Nickelback of...
Whoa, hey, calm down here. Because...
film scores. Or, no, he's the Creed. He's the Creed of film scores. Like, we all kind of like it. We're all like, look at this movie graph. You know, but... But you're just like, I don't like it. But I like it, and it sounds just like the other song. That's okay.
Harry Potter doesn't sound anything like Indiana Jones.
But Indiana Jones sounds a lot like Star Wars, which sounds a lot like Superman, which sounds a lot like...
No, Superman sounds different.
Okay, go.
Now, once you get your big...
Come on, hang on.
Once you
give me Superman. Give me Superman.
What?
Come on, give me the notes.
I don't want
give me some WAP. Like let's see if you can differentiate Star Wars and Superman.
Well, yeah, of course you can.
Bum ba bum 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 bum.
Yeah, Superman is all horns. It's all horns.
Yeah. Yes. Give me Star Wars.
The opening theme, the scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
it's. I mean, yeah, it's very, very, very similar.
Yeah, but Superman's like light toned. It's like all horns.
Now give me Indiana Jones. You can't because you're thinking Superman because they all sound the same.
There's the style.
Give me Indiana Jones. Can you even do it? Because you can't stop thinking of bum ba bum ba 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 ba. Like whatever the first John Williams score you get in your head, that's what you're going to think of all of them because they all kind of sound the same.
I don't know. Harry Potter's a lot more different than the rest of them.
Now I will say that. Those are great. Those are new. Good job, John Williams.
But it does have that, like the sweeping, like the. Those are in everything.
Those are in everything.
That's like a hallmark. That's like a style hallmark because that like the wispy like that's in everything.
Oh yeah, that's Indiana Jones. That's it's you've got a lot of signatures. So I am an Alan Silvestri and Jerry Goldsmith man. Like those dudes could make some film scores. And Hans Zimmer, he's definitely
Alan Silvestri did
Back to the Future.
Right. He did Batman.
And Batman. No, that Batman was Danny Elfman.
Oh, it was Danny Elfman.
Yeah, Danny Elfman's got a lot of signature moves that he does too. But John Williams, man,
Sylvester did some superhero. He did a superhero, like a big superhero movie, right?
Alan Silvestri?
Yeah.
Back to the Future was a huge one for him. And
and that was with the Boston Pops.
The Boston Paps.
The Boston Pops.
He did
the Out of Time Orchestra is what they called it when they did the
he did Forrest Gump. Alan Silvestri did Forrest Gump. That was another huge one that he did. So, and Predator, which is really
Forrest
freaking
Gump
good.
And Predator done by the same
man.
Dude,
Alan Silvestri rules. Okay, anyway. News. There wasn't a whole lot that happened. Did you write anything down? Because
dude.
Other than me talking about, because I could talk about film scores till I'm dead.
Something fun.
Actually, what about Superman? We were
the
just talking
new
about
trailer,
Superman.
the cross-eyed trailer.
No, how the family, the estate of the.
Oh yeah, how Siegel's family estate is suing DC because they don't think that they should be allowed to release the movie in certain countries. which means that they're telling DC to give them more money. They're like, I don't think that you're legally allowed to distribute it. And DC's like, no.
Unless you're going to pay me.
Warner Brothers is like, no, it's right here in writing that we have full distribution rights for everything signed over by your family. And they're like, no, I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to release it in these countries without our sign off. So, yeah, they just want more big dollars.
They're like in Kyrgyzstan, you can't do it, so you got to give us $1 billion more. And yeah, the legal system's screwed. Everyone's greedy. Capitalism's ruining our world. We're going to be all on fire. Planes are crashing. Dogs and cats are living together. 2028, end of the world. Let's just call it.
It would be cool if some of these people's like estates had some more integrity to them. Talking about Back to the Future, right?
Yeah, when have you seen like an estate, like maybe the Tolkien estate, that wasn't just a whole bunch
No, that's it. Tolkien estate is one of the ones I'm referring to specifically because they're like Rings of Power, money, yes.
Yeah.
And then Rings of Power comes out and every Tolkien fan ever is like, this is garbage. This is not Tolkien. And
But
then
like,
the family goes, oh, we don't like it. We don't like that you did this. And then Amazon's like, well, sorry you told us that we could. And they're like, well, we take it back. And they said, it's too late. You've already cashed the check. And they're like, oh, well, then give us more money. So, yeah, Tolkien's estate is one of the ones I'm very specifically referring to.
Nepotistic crybabies that get generational wealth based on... It's like that movie About a Boy. I think that was the movie.
What's all...
and anyway, they're all buttholes. Make your own money.
What's old dude's... the director from Back to the Future, director... Forrest Gump, Zemeckis.
Yeah, Zemeckis.
So Robert Zemeckis has in his will...
But that wasn't his estate.
So it's in his will when it goes to his estate that they cannot allow for Back to the Future to be remade. Which is perfect.
A baller move. Dude.
Yeah. He's like, don't ruin Back to the Future. The only thing he said that he would do for Back to the Future is if they do Back to the Future the musical and he is allowed to be the one to direct it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Andy signed off on the Telltale Games, which is official sequel, which is really good.
It's canon.
But yeah, no, he has it in his will that they're like not allowed to screw with Back to the Future.
Speaking of things getting screwed with, have you seen the news about the Gremlins movie, the new Gremlins movie? They're saying that they're going to do almost no CGI, like all the Gremlins are going to be animatronics and puppets, which I don't believe. Don't believe that for a fucking second.
I don't buy it for an instant.
But the fact that they're even making an attempt, I think is kind of neat. The story's probably still going to absolutely suck. But what was the story that we said?
Like, I don't know.
We came up with
a week back.
Yeah, we came up with the script for it, and I think it would take off, but I can't think of what we said.
Is it going to be a Christmas movie?
Maybe it needs to be like Thanksgiving. You don't give gifts on Thanksgiving. Maybe it's like a birthday movie.
Yeah, but the original...
Or no, what if it's an unboxing video movie? Where,
hey guys, what's up? Shout out! Thanks for watching my channel.
Yo, like and subscribe. Got this new Mogwai today.
Got this crazy box from this dude in Chinatown, bro.
Yeah, man, we're gonna unbox it, and it's got these rules. We're not gonna read this. We're gonna take out this packaging. And
spills his like Prime energy drink on them,
right on the Mogwai.
Whoops! Sorry, little buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he starts selling them, and then didn't we say it becomes viral, and then
the dumb hillbilly one is like, and he becomes the YouTube sensation
or the president.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the president gremlin.
Yeah, and he just drinks the whatever energy drink they're promoting, and
just
gets all
grabs them all by the gremlin pussies. Yeah. All right. What else you got in the news?
Talking stuff that no one needed and no one will now get. Sony has dropped a Marvel movie from their slate. And the craziest thing about all this is that every article you're going to find is Sony drops major Marvel movie or Sony drops Spider-Man tie-in movie. And then as soon as you read the articles, it goes, Sony has gotten rid of a untitled movie from their 2020 whatever release date. And it's like,
so
it's an untitled movie. So everyone's like, whoa, major Marvel movie. It's like, it was probably some turd that
Stick, the movie.
Yeah, they find like Squirrel Girl or something, and they were like, "Oh, this is not going to go well at all."
Wasn't Stick already in the MCU? He was in Daredevil. What's
Stick?
He's like a janitor that's really good with a bow staff. He's like this super old, like mega kung fu dude, and I think he made a cameo in Daredevil and was like teaching him how to like beat up and be blind.
His name is Stick?
That's what he called him because he's good with a stick.
Oh, okay.
That's his weapon.
It's like that video where Captain Hook's about to kill the Wendy and her brothers, and they're like, "Oh, you'll never do this, Captain Hook." He's like, "What'd you call me?" And they're like, "Captain Hook." He's like, "That's not my name. Wow, you take the biggest tragedy and like my disfiguration and you call me that? That's awful." And like this dude, they're like, "Well, he's really good with a stick."
Call him Stick.
So his name's Stick. Yeah, that's dumb. That's why I quit reading comics. Anyhow, that's, apparently news somehow that Sony's like, man, all of our Marvel movies have been flopping so hard. Let's
stop. Let's stop for a minute.
Talking about big flops that are related to Disney. The Snow White trailer passed the 1 million dislikes on YouTube.
Yeah.
And Disney has actually started to reconsider. So I think they moved its release date once more. It's like pushed another month back or something like that because Disney is like, oh, what are we going to do? So I guess they're still trying to figure out the Rachel Zegler thing. And like, not only was everyone upset that she was cast as Snow White, but that she just went out in the public and said really stupid things and then had to go on her I'm sorry tour, and it fixed nothing, and that the dwarfs just look like insane, terrible CGI for no reason, and I'm sure that Peter Dinklage is just like
dope,
kind of a thing. So that's just continuing. Disney's actually worried, so that's fun. Talking the Dink. Toxic Avenger. It was last announced that it was going to be released, and they have given it its release date, August 29th.
All right, sign me
We
up.
will have Toxic Avenger.
We'll be there.
In the movie theater.
We'll be there.
Yeah, I will be there.
Speaking of
I'll
shocking
probably
movies,
be criticizing the hell out of it just because I love Toxic.
Yeah, so will we. I mean, we both will. But Terrifier 4, they've Damian Leone. He said that the next chapter of the Terrifier franchise will be an origin story for Art the Clown.
Oh.
So now we get to know, which I don't think I want to know.
Like, is that not one of those things that people are like, we're over it?
Well, it was like when they tried to do the origin story to Michael Myers, and they're like, well, it's a magic blackthorn from an Indian reservation who's stabbed with the evil. And it's like, no, I don't know. No one, Rob Zombie, fuck you, or whatever. Like,
was that in the Rob Zombie one? Because I thought the Rob
was.
Zombie origin one was just that he was an insane person and he just couldn't die.
Maybe,
because you're first in the Rob Zombie one, you're first introduced to him and he's like standing in the prison yard.
Yeah.
And then he like gets in that car and it crashes and he just breaks out of it. And
you know how it's funny to go back and watch the original Halloween and see just how much that dude's just driving. Like
Mike Myers.
Yeah, who taught him to drive?
Yeah, doesn't he like run someone over in like a?
Because he's been incarcerated apparently since he was like a child, right? Like that was a whole deal. He was like a kid and he killed his sister or whatever.
I mean, dude, he can live through being dropped off buildings and shot so many times.
But he can just drive in a car.
Yeah. So why is it hard to believe that he knows how to drive a car?
I mean, I guess that's true. But we don't need origin stories to like really cool some of these horror icons. They just they're scary and they kill people. The less you know, the better.
Mike Myers will be an Uber driver. Yeah,
I think that's why Jaws worked as a horror movie. He's in the ocean. Why is he killing people? I don't know, because that's what he does. It's a shark. He eats you, and you don't need anything else. You don't need to like go. But was he? What kind of shark? What breed of shark? Did he grow up and get bullied by other sharks?
The breed of shark is pretty obvious.
Well, yeah, but.
Yeah, but then you get to like Jaws 4 and they have the whole thing about how it's hunting down the family and it's the mom's turn to kill the shark.
So stupid. So stupid.
Yeah, Jaws films get a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, he was bullied in Jaws school.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the origin story will just be like the first 10 minutes of the movie. I don't think
it's like putting on makeup. And then...
Yeah, I don't think that anyone really cares what Art's origin is, right? Like they just want to see a clown stab someone in the nutsack.
Yeah,
right?
Just like here, spread it open. Let's get that gooch. Bow, 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 and stab it.
Well,
Yep. Well, that's news.
Speaking of,
That's about all I had, honestly.
body horror, just gory, disgusting, terrible body horror stuff. David Cronenberg movie. It also has a release date, The Shrouds. It will now be released in LA and New York on April the 19th, and then it's nationwide on the 25th.
Cool.
So
of this month?
Of this year.
Of this year.
So
Gotcha.
2.5 months from now, we will have the new David Cronenberg movie in the theaters. That should be fun. Watching the Cronenberg movies in the theater is...
They hit different.
Yeah.
Well, that reminds me. You remember when we were talking about David Lynch a few weeks back, because he passed away, and I said I had a David Lynch T-shirt. I bought a couple of his shirts that he was doing. He was just had a little clothing line for a minute. I found it. Here it is. I'm wearing it right now. Check it out.
That looks like the shirts that we did when we played Jackbox and made
I know.
the shirts.
Yeah, it's called Absurda DKL or something like that. And I found it, and I was like, oh, my David Lynch shirt. So, DKL.
I wonder if he made
David
that
Lynch.
in Jackbox
David K.
games.
Lynch. It just looks like a lot of the shirts look like notebook paper that he just made little weird doodles on and then put them on T-shirts. And I'm
Could be.
okay with it. It's my David Lynch shirt.
Yeah. But, the Cronenberg movie. Also, something weird, talking body horror. We got a trailer for a movie that seemed like it would probably never see the light of day.
Which one?
Magazine Dreams.
Oh, there's a trailer for that?
Yeah, trailer for it got released. The one with Jonathan Majors.
I did not see this.
Yep. That came out here this past week. It's on the internets. It's Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, he got in a lot of trouble there.
He got in trouble for punching a lady or two.
And here's a movie about punching.
And went to trial and all that. So it's a movie about bodybuilding.
Bodybuilding, yeah.
So the Magazine Dreams, that's what I'm saying, body horror. Because it's all about this guy who's trying to get bigger and bigger and be the biggest and best one. And he looks up to the meme dude, baby, don't hurt me. Muscle dude. It's all about this guy trying to make it in the world of bodybuilding. And I'm sure that it's going to have its share of disturbing things in it.
Yep.
Because it's all about modifying yourself for the look. And I did not think that this movie would ever be something that anyone got to know about beyond the title and the poster.
And who was in it and what he did.
Yeah, well, and that's why. Trailer is out, so it appears that there may be plans to have that movie out at some point.
Who knows? Maybe we'll get Batgirl.
Maybe we'll get Wile E. Coyote versus Acme.
We'll get them. Maybe that's their plan, is to just say you're never going to get it, put it on the back burner for a while, and then go, guess what? It's back.
It'll be interesting to see if this will be Start the Redemption.
We'll get the Kevin Spacey cut of that one movie.
Kevin Spacey's back, man.
I know. When are we going to get the cut of that one movie?
He moved to England, and he kept it going, and people there liked him, and now he's making appearances in places, and he's on shows and whatnot. So, we'll just see how long the repairs take.
What's the statute of limitations on re-releasing movies with pieces of shit in them?
Yeah, I don't know. And then some things that were interesting to maybe just me, but it is becoming more popular. Some Warhammer stuff, man. I didn't get to talk about the newest episode they put out on for Hammer and Bolter, the Return to Cadia. That was pretty cool. That's out there if you have Warhammer TV. But really, the main thing is that Games Workshop dropped the teaser for Astartes 2. And that has been the talk of my internet. Because Astartes was a YouTube series that was released by this guy. It was a one-man thing. He did this whole CGI 5 or 6 episode thing.
Yeah. In his mom's basement.
No. And it became a really big deal for fans of Warhammer. And so Games Workshop hired this dude, and now there is a trailer teaser thing for Astartes 2, but it won't come out until next year. But with the building popularity
on.
of Warhammer, thanks to the deal with Prime and Henry Cavill's involvement and everything, that may soon be part of pop culture more than it is. Because I mean, look at Marvel. You'd be like, oh, dude, comic book movies, and everyone's like, comic books, get the hell out of here. But it would just be us and like our Wizard magazine and be like, oh yeah, Patrick Stewart would be perfect.
Oh man, it'd be so good. Sure.
Yeah, and now look at it. You can't get away from comic book movies, so could be the next thing. But yeah, there's big stuff going on in that, which is still kind of exciting when they're not trying to actively ruin it for the tourist. But fan bases are a weird thing.
They are. Well, all right. Well, about time to talk about new releases. If you got...
No,
ready?
That's it, man.
Okay.
There wasn't too much news. Hollywood's been on fire, man. Everything's slowed down there for a bit.
It has been slow. But February is also kind of slow. But we've got some movies that are coming out this week, because movies come out, at least a movie comes out every single week these days. It might not always be a good one, but by golly, we got some. So we've got 3 that are going to be hitting theaters nationwide this week. The first up is a film that actually has been out for a little while, but it was boycotted in Brazil for a little bit, but it's been winning all the awards. It got a crap load of Academy Award nominations for like 3 different. Got Golden Globes. It's got stars all over the poster, but it's called I'm Still Here. It is based off of the memoir of the same name from 2015, and based on a true story, obviously, about a kind of it's political biographical drama that takes place during, the kind of military dictatorship that was in Brazil in like 1971. Which, again, I think is kind of important to watch movies about like military dictatorships and authoritarian regimes that happened within, a lot of people's lifetime. Like there are people that are still, not even in geriatric age, and there are countries that have military authoritative dictatorships. But anyway, it's kind of a heart-touching tale about this mother forced to kind of like reinvent her life when it gets completely uprooted and her husband's murdered and all kinds of really terrible stuff that goes on in Brazil in that time. But anyway, won tons of awards, getting a wide release this weekend in theaters. But for the Valentine's people out there, there are 2 movies. There's one that is action-packed and another one that's action-packed and full of horror. But the first one is Love Hurts, and it is starring Academy Award winner Ke Huy Quan. You're going to be seeing him a lot, I think. But Short Round himself, after just storming the Academy Awards with his performance in Everything Everywhere All at Once, is back playing basically John Wick. It's a comedy John Wick. And he's a realtor. He got out of the industry, got out of the biz. He was an assassin. But he leaves that whole life behind. But that partner in crime comes back, pulls him out from his crime lord brother who's doing nefarious things, and he has to confront his past. And Ke Huy Quan kind of reprising his role from Everything Everywhere All at Once, almost, where it's like this kind of lovable person that also can really kick ass, and there's this contrast of like, oh, nobody would expect me to beat your ass, and he beats ass. So
beats ass.
Just beats the ass. And I hope that the gimmick doesn't like fade him out.
I want that to be the phrase of someone who doesn't know what they're saying and be like, yeah, man, he beats the ass.
He beats the ass.
Beats the ass, man.
The ass.
Dude, that guy
beats the ass.
Beats the ass.
Anyway, Ke Huy Quan's great. I really want to see this movie. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, it's coming out in theaters this week. Also, for the couples out there, and I think this movie's going to mix. I just think this movie's going to take the box office this next weekend.
Well, sure,
because it's horror and it's set up for it's Valentine's horror, which everybody's like, let's go see a scary movie together.
Yeah. Holiday theme. Stabbing.
It's called Heart Eyes, and pretty interesting character design. You gotta love it when a horror movie comes out that creates like a slasher, like an iconic visually iconic slasher. And it's this slasher dude that has this like stitched up leather mask that has these light up heart eyes. The movie's called Heart Eyes. And it's, now that I've got this hoarse voice, maybe this will really hit. But for the past several years, the Heart Eyes killer has wreaked havoc on Valentine's Day by stalking and murdering romantic couples. This Valentine's Day, no couple is safe. I can't do it. I was cracking there. But early reviews have come in and said it's pretty funny. It's kind of an entertaining romp.
Is it done like a horror? Because you know what it looks like to me, like the same kind of thing is like Idle Hands style, but like a little less comedy. Like more slasher, less comedy, but still like a that similar type of movie where it's like just goofy enough.
But then there's just enough horror to make it like scary or whatever.
Right.
But this one is kind of it's being billed as a dark comedy, dark horror comedy.
Well, I know I think it was the guy that's in the costume was saying like this is going to be one of those horror movie villains up there with Mike Myers and Jason.
I think there might just the visual alone. I feel like it has the opportunity for sequels. So if it makes a lot of money, we'll get another one.
What's the game? That game where they have all the horror movie characters that like hunt down. It's like a one versus all multiplayer game, and the horror movie like slasher always hunts down the people and hangs them on the meat hooks and stuff like that. This guy is going to be a DLC for that for sure.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? Like,
unrelated. Mark Landry on YouTube just said, "Notice that Ke Huy Quan in Encino Man the other night. That meant two Goonies kids in that movie.
Where was he in that movie?
Guess
was he
who?
One of the kids dancing like in the
probably. Yeah. But guess who has a cameo appearance in Love Hurts? Sean Astin. Oh, I wish it was, but no, Sean Astin. So Ke Huy Quan was in Encino Man, but then boom, Sean Astin will be in Love Hurts. And then might have been intentional. Might have been, the Gooniverse, yeah. So anyway, all right, well, and that's it. That's the three movies that are coming out in theaters this week. You can check them out. They're out there. Get that ticket now. Set up your date night. And for those of you that are like Valentine's centric, do not, and I repeat, do not, and I'm going to say this again next week because we still got another Monday. Do not go to the fucking restaurant like at 7 o'clock and expect the best service of your life. Why are you going out to a nice restaurant on Valentine's Day? Do it the day before. Do it the day after. Tip. Be patient.
At least have a reservation too.
Dude, it is like Valentine's Day in a restaurant's the worst time ever to go to a restaurant. Like,
maybe. I mean, if you go somewhere that does reservations and has it together.
But do you think like they're going to want to rush you out? They want to,
to make more room.
You got it because they got so many reservations you got to do. You want to like take your time. You want to have a good time. You want to chill. You don't be like, oh, you need anything else? All right, here's your check.
Last year I went to Meiji, but I had a reservation set up and it was fine.
I just recommend going not on the day. Do something else. All right. That's what's in theaters.
Velvet Santa's doing it right, going to CC's.
Heck yeah. The best pizza value anywhere. All right, well, let's talk about movies. I'm going to give my voice a little bit of a rest here.
Sure,
drink some water, and you tell them about the
movie I
you
can
saw.
talk about You're Cordially Invited, which, funny enough, you just said Encino Man. One of the actors' names in this movie is Stoney. That's a real thing. I just thought they called him that because of Reefer, but later, Merle. So You're Cordially Invited. It's a movie about Will Ferrell. He's like this single dad, has a daughter. She comes home from college and she's getting married. And she wants to have it at the same place that him and her mom had gotten married. So he calls a year in advance and books it. Right as soon as he books it, the old lady that was writing down his appointment, her pen wasn't working and she has a heart attack and dies. Right? Well, not long later, Reese Witherspoon's character is booking the wedding for her sister, and she calls, and it's Jack McBrayer, the son of the woman that died. And so he writes down her reservation on top of the pen marks that were inkless in the book, and they book it, but they make it a big point. It's an island, and it's only big enough for one wedding, even though it's a pretty big island. And this, like,
how big are these weddings if there's only room for one?
This plantation manor on this island that's able to comfortably house both wedding parties. They're both rich people. She's a reality TV producer and director, and he is, you don't know his job until the end of the movie, but he has plenty of money to book all this stuff. So then, of course, antics ensue, and at first they're at each other's throat and they're trying to get the other one kicked out of the event space, but then they come to an agreement. But through the agreement, there's tension and friction, and so then they try to plot against each other to ruin the wedding of the other one. I think it's supposed to be funny. It's not funny at all. But Will Ferrell and Reese Witherspoon star and produced this movie.
It sounds like two of the most unlikable humans. Who are you rooting for? Like, they sound both like rich, entitled douchebags.
Well, so you don't get to know how rich Will Ferrell's character is, but every wedding movie ever is about someone who has way too much money.
Yeah, they're all these fairy tale destination, like white linen pant weddings full of like entitled assholes.
Yeah, you know what?
Palm trees.
The only movie that doesn't have a ridiculous, over-the-top wedding is Forrest Gump, and he was a billionaire, and he had a wedding in his backyard with only his closest friends, right? And then every other movie, people were like, "Oh, the island is ours. We booked this island, and we just throw money at everything."
Destination weddings are also really douchey.
Yeah, I mean, Crazy Rich Asians, that's the whole plot of that movie, is just that they have so much money for this wedding. So anyhow, it's supposed to be funny, but really what it is a showcase of very over-the-top and like way too over-the-top Southern accents, because the whole thing takes place... Show yourselves. The whole thing takes place in Atlanta. And Reese Witherspoon's character is estranged from her family. She lives.
Is there an island in Atlanta?
Yeah, it's like, well, it's somewhere. It's supposed to be
like on a lake.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. For whatever reason, I'm thinking tropical island all of a sudden. Okay.
Yeah, outside of Atlanta, but there's gators in the lake and all this stuff. But
so it's the great outdoors.
It's kind of like the great outdoors.
Okay, all right.
But she's like a little estranged from her family, and she lives in L.A., so she's the outcast, and she's upset at them because she feels like the outcast. But it's just all of these people with really, really bad Southern accents, except for Will Ferrell, who lives in Atlanta and is the only one without a Southern accent in this movie. Because he's from California.
Of all the people that could have been like, down to my plums.
Yeah, he could have been Ashley Schaefer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would have made this movie so much better if he was like, the wedding space is mine. Whoo, BMWs. Yeah, that would have been really good if he was Ashley Schaefer. But it's good that it's free, that it's on Prime. Definitely not something that is
pay-forable.
Yeah, big movie ticket. It's not a bad movie. It's not like you're going to put it on and just absolutely regret having watched it, but it's not funny. There's never one part where I like laughed or was like, oh, that's funny. It's just a lot of people being really mean-spirited to one another and manufactured drama.
I get enough of that in the real world. I don't think I need to watch that on TV.
It's manufactured drama with avoidable conflict for the sake of what's supposed to be comedy, but it's really just a feature of exaggerated Southern accents, which is always offensive isn't the right word because that's too strong. Just annoying, I guess, as someone from the South kind of a thing. Very much a show yourselves situation. The tough part on that is that the actors that they cast in these parts, several of them are Southern. And I feel like whoever was directing the movie was like, can you turn it to 11? And they just outdo themselves with their intense like accents, right? Like, yeah, but what if you were from Georgia? And they're like, oh, I declare. And they're like, keep that going.
Keep
and
going.
action.
I'm just a Southern lawyer.
Exactly. Yeah. So, it's dumb, but it's not terrible. It's very bland. So nothing worth praising, but not really worth shitting on either. It's just very run of the mill.
It's just a movie to be on streaming.
Yeah. It's a very middle of the road streaming movie. It's something to put on when you're like cleaning the house, maybe. It's a like you don't have to pay attention to this movie for sure.
Well, the movie that I checked out is definitely a pay attention kind of movie. It's in theaters right now, very limited release. It was it kind of did pretty well at Sundance, but it's called Love Me, and it's from writer and director Sam and Andrew Zucchero. It's kind of their big feature-length directorial debut, and it stars Kristen Stewart and Steven Yeun, and that is it. Kristen Stewart plays a buoy that comes up with the name as Me, and then Steven Yeun plays a satellite, which comes up with the name as I Am. And this movie takes place. It's got a really interesting opening scene. It shows like the Big Bang, right? And then Earth is created, and then it's just like this super time lapse of like you see and it's from a distance too, and just see the meteor that destroyed all the the dinosaurs or whatever, and then you see the world kind of come back to life again. But then you see something go pop, and then you see all these satellites around it, and you see some pop, 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 and then the Earth goes dark again, and you're like, okay, some shit went down, and then it's there's like an ice age, and there's this buoy that's frozen in the ice, and as hundreds of years later, after whatever happened, I think thousands of years go by, and then the ice starts to thaw, and then the clouds kind of part, and sun hits the solar panels on this buoy that's like an AI smart buoy, and they kind of clicks in, boots up, and is like kind of waiting to connect, and then as the Earth rotates, the satellite that just kind of goes by saying, welcome to Earth, welcome to Earth, welcome to Earth. And then the AI learning on the buoy kind of is like, okay, what is welcome? Parses together a message, and then the next time the satellite is in range, it like says, welcome to Earth back to the satellite. And then they click and they link, and it's these two AIs kind of communicating with each other. And Steven Yeun is a satellite that's in the sky that was put there at the end of humanity. The humanity, I guess, decided we're going to put, hundreds of petabytes of all of the data of the collected human history into the satellite, so that maybe if somebody discovers Earth in the future, that they will learn about humanity on Earth while it was here. So anyway, through this setup, this buoy is a learning AI that's like also has access to the information that the satellite carries, and is trying to figure out what it is. And then it creates this weird little world where, through YouTube videos that it decided it liked, to create this avatar of itself, and wants to fit the AI of Steven Yeun into this box of what it is to be alive. And they live out these like scenarios of like, yeah, we're doing what humans did in the simulated world. But then Steven Yeun's character kind of becomes slightly sentient, of like, this is stupid, this is fake, something's wrong, this isn't right. And then they actually start having a very human relationship of fighting with one another and arguing, and they break apart, they stop communicating, and they end up missing each other. And then this goes on and on for thousands of years, and then the planet gets destroyed all over again by a supernova, and but their hard drive like exists out into space. It's really interesting, right? But what it does very well is it really kind of explores human relationships and what people put onto other people, what boxes that we try to fit in, what we try to be performative as, of like what makes a relationship. What are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to act? Like, going through the motions, is that really a relationship? How do you determine what is feeling, what is those things that are genuine versus like, oh, honey, I'm home, good to see you. Like, oh, let's make dinner. It's our favorite. It's date night. I love date night. And you're like, well, do you? Are you going through the motions, or how do you know the difference? And it explores some really interesting ideas about relationships and about humanity, really. Like what and what's important. Like, this girl, Kristen Stewart, the buoy kind of adopts this avatar of this really famous influencer on the internet who's Deja, and so she wants to be like that, and
that's why the world got destroyed.
Kind of. And it was talking about, well, what's important, and everybody's just kind of puts influencers on blast a little bit. But Merle asks over on Twitch, is this a candidate for the AI bracket or nah? Sounds like nah. It is nah, because there's nothing left for this AI to control. Stephen Yeun's character by the end of it is extremely wise and extremely authentically human, because it just spent a millennia trying to think about what it is to be human. And it's kind of neat. It puts parameters on a lot of things. This movie is definitely not for everybody. I wouldn't recommend it to a lot of people. But if you're in like an indie art house kind of mood, it's kind of cool. It's not overly gushy or romantic. It's not, tragic, although it isn't happy. It's a kind of a thought-provoking experimental film, and it's only an hour and a half long, which I think was the perfect runtime. I think it could have even been a little bit shorter, and it could have worked out better, but I enjoyed it. I wasn't mad at it at all. So you can check it out in theaters if you live here in Northwest Arkansas. You can see it, and see it on the big screen. But happy to see a movie like this hit our theaters. I mean, it's only 2 people in the whole movie. You don't see that very often. So, all right, well, Love Me in theaters right now. I'm starting to get hoarse again. I'm going to turn things over to Jake because it's our last segment of the show, which is our top 10. And might I add that Love Me opened up at number 22, but it was only in 500 theaters nationwide. So there you have it. So Jake's going to give you the top 10 movies in America, starting with number 10. Do the thing.
Yeah, at number 10, Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, $1.6 million this past week. 4th week out, it's brought in 34.5, and they are still talking about number 3. That was a little bit of news there that wasn't really worth bringing up too much because they just keep repeating it. But Lionsgate's happy where that's at. Also, you can watch that at home now if you want to spend $20 to watch it. At number 9, switching spots there with Den of Thieves, The Brutalist. That's that new Adrian Brody movie.
Yep.
$1.86 million brought in by that one. It's been out 7 weeks. I'm pretty sure its wide release has not been that long.
Well, now it's getting like Academy nominations. You're going to see movies like that.
I mean, look, it added 500 theaters. 12.1 so far for that. Holding at number 8, A Complete Unknown, $2.3 million for Chalamet. 6 weeks in, it's brought in $66.8 million. I'm sure they wanted more dollars than that.
For sure.
It was done by Searchlight, so maybe they didn't spend
that much. And it also got a lot of Academy Awards, so you might see an uptick. Sure.
And then at number 7, dropping 2 spots, Moana 2, $2.8 million, 10 weeks out from Disney. It's brought in $454 million, another $583 elsewhere in the world. It's made more than $1 billion.
$1 billion club.
So hit $1 billion.
How's it going, Jasper, over on Facebook?
And then at number 6, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, also dropping 2 spots. $3.25 million brought in by that one in its 7th week. 230.5 so far for that one. Another 232 elsewhere in the world, so 462.5 for that one. Good job, Sonic.
We're going to get more of those.
And then at number 5, losing the top spot, Flight Risk, $5.4 million brought in by that one, bringing its 2-week total up to just under $21 million. I think that they are actually pretty okay with where that one sits.
I mean, like we talked about it couldn't have been that expensive, even though we looked up the budget and it was more than we thought.
Yeah.
But still, like...
That one's going to be like a streaming movie. That one's not that bad. I forgot we looked up the budget. They're probably not happy with it. I think it was like $30 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was more than you'd think.
It was number 1 last week, which got it some publicity and stuff like that. So we'll see how that one holds. And then at number 4, One of Them Days, $5.8 million brought in by that one. 3 weeks out from Sony, $34.3 million for that one. And then at number 3, Mufasa, The Lion King, $6.3 million, 7 weeks out from Disney, $229.7, $423.5 elsewhere.
How it made that much money outside of the U.S.
$650 or $650 million.
That's crazy
for that one. Yep, very. And it started out real slow. People thought it was just going to go under real quick.
We were hoping.
And then it just came right back. And then at number 2, Companion, opening at the number 2 spot, $9.5 million brought in by the...
I was going to go see that, but then when I saw Love Me was playing, I was like, well, I'll probably have more opportunities to see Companion than...
Yeah, I mean, because that's the horror movie offering for the moment, you know. Heart Eyes will probably push that one out pretty quick. I imagine that Companion and Flight Risk will fall off because everyone's like, yeah, I want to see these people get stabbed. I don't want to see those people get stabbed.
Done did it.
Yeah. And then taking the top spot, which is kind of exciting, especially by how much, the new family offering, Dogman, from Captain Underpants author Dav Pilkey.
Yeah, and DreamWorks. It's not Disney, so yay.
Yeah. $36 million brought in by Dogman.
Right on. Well, that's our top 10, and that is our show, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. If you don't want to get in on the live broadcast, if you don't want to know what's going on where we're referencing the chat and what's going on over there, you can always just download this podcast wherever it is you download podcasts. Just search for the Drive-In Speaker Box podcast. If you follow us on Twitch, we do stuff before and after the show. Here in just a minute, we're going to open up the goodie box from one of our Twitch viewers here after the show, so stick around on Twitch for that. But if you want to catch all that other stuff, you can get anything Drive-In Speaker Box related over on our Discord. Just check out our link tree, driveinspeakerbox.com. You have all that stuff. So we're gonna kick it over to the Twitch pre-show or post-show here. And then for the rest of you guys, we will see you guys next week. So with that, we'll catch you. I guess later, right? Is it?
Yep. Catch you later.
Yeah. Bye for now, unless you're on Twitch.